There's so many reasons why so many people are not satisfied sexually, but probably one of the biggest, kind of broadest reasons is that we live in a culture that doesn't embrace sexuality in a way that's positive and healthy, with all those taboos and restrictions and lack of education. And that's probably the number one, lack of education, especially in the U.S. Most kids grow up not really knowing anything about it, or just learning things here and there from friends, from internet, from porn, which is obviously not real sex. And so a lot of people just don't know how to please themselves, how to please their partners. They don't feel like they have the right to sexual pleasure often, especially women, because we tell women that sex is something that they should do for men and not for themselves. So there's that sort of general problem: lack of education, lack of empowerment to seek out sexual pleasure. And then we tell people that once they are coupled, they have to stay in these monogamous relationships, which over the long term often do not provide the sexual satisfaction and excitement that new relationships provide. And so between lack of education, lack of sense of right to pleasure, and these kind of boring and progressively more and more boring long-term relationships, there's a lot of lack of satisfaction. And then we also teach people that well, sex is not everything. Sexual pleasure is not everything. So if you have a good relationship, everything is going fine. You have someone who loves you, you're compatible, you have a good life together. Okay, so sex is not that amazing anymore. Well, it's not that big of a deal, right? You're not gonna, ruin this amazing marriage or amazing relationship just because you're not getting the orgasms that you want. So we kind of downplay the importance of sexual pleasure, and a lot of people try to convince themselves of that and go along with it. So the way to reverse the trend is to work on all of these things, right? Bring sexual education to people from a very early age in a way that's more comprehensive, that's more open, give them the right to sexual pleasure, and tell them that there are many other ways that they can have long-term loving relationships. So yeah, there are a lot of points of action that we could take. We know that sexual desire thrives on novelty, on dopamine in our brain, and we all have that, as Esther Perel so eloquently puts it, need for adventure and mystery and risk and danger, and so any way that you can create that kind of mystery and danger in long-term relationships is going to help, spark or bring those sparks alive again, whether it's go on vacation separately, don't go together, or have a night out with your friends without your partner. There are many many ways to create that distance. I don't know I can give anything more than what Esther beautifully puts in her book and her talks, but those are scientifically proven ways of creating desire again, because whoever, whatever your partner has done or is doing is now a little different, is now a little new, and new is the key to sexual desire. We know when you track sexual desire over time in a long-term relationship, in the beginning you start off with like super high. Everyone is like, oh my God, you're all I can think of, and I don't want anyone else, and I want to have sex with you 15 times a day if possible. And then that slowly drops, and that drop is inevitable, because our brains get habituated, get accustomed to this stimulus, so we need something novel. So whether it's new toys, new locations, new people, but if it's not new people, if that doesn't work for you, even talking about new people, watching porn together. Porn gets such a bad rep in our culture these days as something that ruins relationships and makes men forget about their partners or not value their partners anymore. But porn could be a great tool as a couple to bring in more excitement in a way that, you know, is not very threatening. It doesn't involve other people. Just sit down in front of the computer and watch porn together and masturbate, and that will, you know, create something. So yeah, a lot of ways.